A samurai wakes before dawn. He does not get up. He lies still, and he begins to imagine how he will die. Not vaguely, not as an idea. He pictures the arrow entering, the blade, the fall from the horse, fire, drowning, sickness, the slow one. He does this every morning of his adult life, and when he is finished, he gets up and goes about his day. This was not depression, it was training. There is a book that tells him to do it, Hagakure, hidden by leaves, and the man who wrote it never got the death he trained for. That is the part nobody tells you. Yamamoto Tsunetomo was born in 1659 in Saga on the island of Kyushu. He was a sickly child. He was not expected to live. At 9, he entered the service of the Lord of the Domain, Nabeshima Mitsushige. He would serve that one man and no other for the next 30 years. Understand clearly what that meant. A samurai's life had one axis, and that axis was not himself. His name, his rank, his purpose, his death, all of it belonged to his lord. And the ending was written in advance. When the lord died, the retainer followed him. They called it junshi, death by following. It was not a punishment. It was the highest honor available to a man like him. Tsunetomo spent 30 years knowing exactly how his story ended. In the spring of 1700, Nabeshima Mitsushige died. Tsunetomo was 41. He had spent his entire life waiting for this moment, and he was not allowed to have it. Because Mitsushige himself had forbidden junshi. He had spoken against it during his life. He thought it was waste. So the most obedient man in the domain faced the one order he could not carry out by obeying. If he died, he disobeyed his lord. If he lived, he disobeyed the code. Sit with that for a moment. A man who had rehearsed his death every morning for 30 years was told he had to live instead. He shaved his head. He left the castle. He walked into the hills and built a hut, and he never came back. Now, what was he actually doing every morning? The instruction in Hagakure is specific, and it is stranger than it sounds. Every day, imagine your death in detail. Not once, not as a philosophy, daily and concretely. Arrows, fire, water, illness, being torn apart. Go through them, then get up. And here is what makes it strange. Tsunetomo lived in a time of peace. The great civil wars had ended decades before he was born. He never fought in a war. Almost no samurai of his generation did. So the death they rehearsed every morning was not one that was coming for them. It was a death they had trained for and would almost certainly never be given. They kept the practice anyway. For 100 years of peace, which should tell you the practice was never really about dying. A lot of people hear this and assume it is about fear, getting used to death so it stops frightening you. That is not it. The practice does something narrower. It removes the future as a hiding place. Everything you are postponing into a future you have quietly assumed exists. The conversation you will have, the work you will start, the person you will become, all of it is stored somewhere ahead of you, and the storage is free. That is the problem. If tomorrow is guaranteed, postponing costs you nothing. The morning practice takes that guarantee away, not by making you afraid, by making the account come due today. And now I have to turn this on you, because you already do a version of this. You just do it backwards. You imagine the future constantly, almost hourly, but you imagine the version where there is more of it, more time, another year, a better season to start. That is not optimism, it is an accounting trick. It lets you keep the intention without paying for it. And here is the uncomfortable part. You are not avoiding the thing because it is hard. You are avoiding it because avoiding it is currently free. Look at the specific thing you have been meaning to do. Not the big one, the medium one, the one that keeps surviving your list. You have moved it forward how many times now? 20? 40? Every one of those moves was free. That is why there have been so many. The morning practice is simply a way of making the next one cost something. Hagakure is often reduced to one line. The way of the samurai is found in death. Read as a slogan, it sounds like a death cult. Read as an instruction, it is the opposite. It is a method for making the present the only place where anything can happen. Not because life is short. Everyone knows life is short, and it changes nothing. Because knowing is one thing, rehearsing is another. You know that one day you will die, but not once have you been willing to sit with it before breakfast. For 9 years, Tsunetomo lived alone in the hills. Then a younger samurai found him, Tashiro Tsurumoto. Tsurumoto came, and he kept coming, and he brought paper with him. For 7 years the old man talked, and the young man wrote it down. Not a treatise, not a system. Fragments, complaints, stories about men long dead. A man in his 60s saying what he had never been asked. It was finished in 1716. Tsunetomo died 3 years later. In bed, an old man. Nothing heroic about it. The book was not published. It was concealed, and it was hidden. Copied by hand inside the domain, passed between retainers for over a century. Hidden by leaves. I want to be honest about what this practice does and does not do. It will not make you feel better. It is not a relaxation exercise. Done properly, the first weeks are unpleasant. What it does is much narrower and much more useful. It shortens the distance between deciding and doing. Most lives are spent inside that distance. You will not notice it working for a while. Then one day you will do something in the same week you thought of it, and it will feel abnormal. That is the whole return. Smaller than people promise you, and more real than what they promise. And the man who taught it never got to use it the way he meant to. He trained 30 years for a death that was taken from him, and then had to spend 19 more years alive with the training. That is what makes him worth listening to. Anyone can be ready to die. He had to be ready to keep going. If you want to try it, do it the way the book lays it out, small and literal. Before you get up tomorrow, take 60 seconds. Just 60 seconds. Do not think about death in general. Picture one specific ending. Then ask one question. What did I move today because of it? If the answer is nothing, you are only frightening yourself. The practice is not the imagining. The practice is what moves afterward. Yamamoto Tsunetomo was denied the ending he trained for, so he did the only other thing available to him. He talked for 7 years to one young man with paper, and 300 years later you are still hearing it. Hagakure, hidden by leaves. The Codex is built one concept at a time. Subscribe, walk your path.